Hey, shalom, brothers and sisters. I welcome you back. Thank you again for joining me today. Today, I want to talk about a figure in church history that you're not familiar with, a man by the name of Lucian. Now, Lucian was a defender of the faith, and I want to read a little bit about him because I think he's worth mentioning. If he's defending the true faith, I just want to give you an insight on who this man was. I'm going to read it right here. Okay. When many Jews were driven from Judea after 135 CE, many fled to Syria. This area became a stronghold for the church throughout the Smyrna era, and we focus on Syria at the conclusion of this era. The period culminated with 10 years of persecution upon the church from 303 to 313 CE. Although many in the true church perished at this time, little is known of those who endured this persecution. The contributions of one of those martyrs, Lucian, helped greatly to preserve the truth. His efforts far exceeded what most have recognized. Lucian was born in Syria in the year 250 CE. His parents, Christian converts, had died when he was 12 years old. In his youth, he studied under Macarius of Edessa, and after baptism, he devoted himself to the continual study of Scripture. He studied at Antioch, where the renowned Malchian was master of the Greek school. There, Lucian excelled as a rapid writer and a celebrated teacher to the point that he was regarded as the founder of the theological school at Antioch in Syria. And you can find that in Encyclopedia Britannica, 11th edition, volume 7, page 100. Note the following summary of the life of his accomplished scholar as translated from Early History of the Christian Church by Duchesne. He says, Lucian was really a learned man. His work on the text of the Old Testament, which he corrected from the original Hebrew, soon became famous. He was a Hebrew scholar, and his version was adopted by the greater number of the churches of Syria and Asia Minor. He occupied himself also with the New Testament. His work differs widely from that of Origen and in Antioch. Allegorical interpretation was not in fashion. Volume 1, page 362. Lucian and those brethren with him in Antioch, which is Syria, clung closely to the early simplicity of the apostles' teachings, while refusing to adopt the unscriptural teachings advocated by the church at Rome. The brethren at Antioch realized that two opposing movements were taking shape within Christianity. One was based on the blending of ancient Babylonian mysteries with various philosophical precepts of the time. The other was based on maintaining the purity and simplicity as taught by Polycarp, Polycrates, and the original apostolic church in the first century. During the Dark Ages, the received text was practically unknown outside the Greek church. It was restored to Christendom by the labors of the great scholar Erasmus. It was altogether too little known that the real editor of the received text was Lucian. None of Lucian's enemies fails to credit him for his work. Neither Lucian or Erasmus, but rather the apostles wrote the Greek New Testament. The book of Mark recorded what was proclaimed by Peter. Lucian's day was an age of apostasy when a flood of deprivations was systematically attempting to devastate both the biblical manuscripts and biblical theology. Lucian's unrivaled success in verifying, safeguarding, and transmitting those divine writings left a heritage for which all generations should be thankful. It's in Truth Triumphant, Wilkinson, chapter 5. Also notice the following from the same source. Not only did Lucian certify the genuine New Testament, but he spent years in audacious labor upon the Old Testament. As a Greek language was the prevalent tongue in which leading works were published throughout the civilized world, he translated the Hebrew scriptures into Greek. As pointed out, the very Greek New Testament used by Erasmus from 1466 to 1536 had been edited by Lucian over 1,200 years earlier. Erasmus greatly favored his text over Jerome's Latin Vulgate. Lucian opposed the spurious books called the Apocrypha, as well as the trend of that time to allegorize away the Bible's plain meaning. The allegory movement was led by Clement in about 194 CE, as well as Origen around 230 CE. Clement, Origen, and Tertullian were all leaders of the Alexandrian school of thought. Alexandria in Egypt was associated with the creative philosophical precepts accepted by Rome. Antioch was associated with the Lucian school of thought, which steadfastly held to the teachings of the original apostles. It is significant that Erasmus rejected the manuscripts written by Origen while strongly favoring the writings of Lucian. Lucian also opposed the movement to establish tradition above the Bible as practiced by Rome. This elevated status of tradition was primarily introduced by Tertullian. Lucian's allegiance to the truth once delivered caused him to be labeled as a Judaizer, since he never departed from observance of the Sabbath and the laws of Yahweh. This servant also strongly rejected the theory of the Trinity. Lucian was gifted with an unusual discernment of the scriptures, which he used to perpetrate the foundation already laid by the apostles. At a time when spurious versions of the Bible were proliferating, Lucian defended, preserved, and passed on to other generations the authentic text of Yahweh's word. Although his opponents have seen to it that his name has remained obscure, his great accomplishments speak for themselves. After a productive life of defending and preserving the authentic scriptures of the Old and New Testament, as well as opposing heresy originating in Alexandria, Egypt, and the church at Rome, he was martyred in 312 CE. This occurred during the last year of the 10-year tribulation mentioned in Revelations chapter 2, verse 10. During his final imprisonment, he was carried to Nicomedia before Maximum Daza, and persisting in his faith, perished on the 7th of January 312 CE under torture and hunger, which he refused to satisfy with food offered to idols. So, this remarkable man, he didn't compromise the faith, the true faith, the apostolical faith. He didn't compromise or do anything like that. He stuck to the guns, and we should be thankful to this man that we have the scriptures, the unpolluted scriptures, that we're glad we got them, because if he wasn't around, they would have been really, really polluted, and we would have been worshiping in vain, plain and simple. But hey, let me know in the comments below if you know about this character Lucian. If you've done history studies and whatever, just let me know. I like to hear from you, and also please comment below. Please comment below about also my other videos. Comment below and let me know what you think about my other videos, and also please give me a big thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and also subscribe. I'd really appreciate that, and watch my other videos. I'd love to hear from you, and also peace out and shalom.